bags where horror lies.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to week 137 here on Body Bags. I am your host, Moodz616, and thank you once again for stopping in on this Sunday, guys. Yeah, week 137 is upon us, and I've got one here from 1987. It is a film I literally have not seen probably in over 25 years, I swear. It's been forever since I've seen this one. I barely remembered it. I only remembered one particular scene from this film. This one does not have a Region 1 DVD or Blu-ray release, unfortunately, so I had to import this one from the UK, but I got it for like a penny, so I just paid for the postage, which was fantastic, and it is called Berserker. Yeah, 1987, slasher film. Yeah, just hadn't seen this one in so long, so I thought, why not? I just got it in, watched it, might as well do a review, right? But getting into the plot of this one, it basically centers around your main character, Josh. He has just gathered up like 5 of his friends, and he wants to go to this camping spot that he's been going to for many, many years with his father. He just wants to head out there to do some partying, you know, some drinking, have some gratuitous sex, do some shameless drugs. You know, the typical stuff that we do when we go camping. Yeah, it's a place that he's went to with his father for years and years. He hasn't been out there in a couple years, so he really wanted to go back and stuff like that. So, of course, they get out there. They start, you know, partying and drinking and doing the thing and stuff. And Josh actually starts to tell his friends about the land that they're actually camping on is it's got quite a history to it. So apparently back in like the 10th century, these Nordic Vikings, you know, basically set up shop there. They landed on this North American shore, and you know, they established a settlement there. Now the thing is, with a certain type of Vikings, they're called Berserkers. Now these Berserkers are like kind of like the first line of defense or the force behind these Vikings. They are, you know, these people that would wear, you know, like bear rugs and wear bear snouts and stuff, and they were like the vicious Vikings and things like that. But they were also cannibalistic flesh eaters. So they essentially got shunned out and cursed down by their god Odin, and so they were actually they weren't allowed to like basically rest in peace. And the only way that these Vikings could get come back to life was they had to be reincarnated into like a present day kin member. So he's telling this story, and of course eventually these characters, Josh's friends, start getting picked off one by one by something out in the woods. So that is your storyline right there. Now my thoughts on this one. It's an okay film. You know, it's not as good as I remember it. It's got a very, very basic premise to it. It's very misguiding, misleading at times. You get a lot of there's a lot of plot holes in this film too, which is kind of interesting. I really didn't remember, you know, that type of, you know, major plot holes when I watched this one, but then again, I didn't quite remember it that well anyways. What I mean by misleading is that, you know, there's a lot of scenes in this film where there's a bear roaming around in the woods, which apparently is responsible for taking out some people and things like that. So it's kind of giving you this guidance that, you know, this bear might be doing all these killings, but otherwise it's kind of ridiculous because this film would not be called Berserker if it was just some random grizzly bear roaming around in the woods picking people off one by one. So right there, you know, it's kind of a stupid setup. You know that there's something else out there, hence Berserker. But yeah, you know, it's a very basic film, but you know, the thing that kind of drives this film is that Josh he's kind of an interesting character. He's this, you know, he's your main character, but he's, in a lot of films, he would be that one that, he'd be kind of that secondary character that you just kind of really don't give a shit about. He's very kind of annoying, obnoxious, he's into his drugs, he's just doing a lot of weird things. You don't really care for him overly that much. And, you know, kind of his sob story with his father and things like that. But yeah, this film doesn't really have a lot of memorable characters, a lot of interesting characters. You don't really give a shit about any of them. But they're not really overly that shitty. They're just not memorable and things. Yeah, so with the characters leading into the kills in the film, not that great. The kills are not that good in this film. And honestly, that's the whole point of watching these type of films, is the kills. I mean, we could care about the characters, we could care less about them, but it's really all about the kills. The kills aren't that great. Body count's not overly that high. you know, and that's really, really sad, actually. And another really odd thing about this film is that they don't really show the killer or the berserker until pretty much the end of the film. Like, you don't really get any type of glimpse, so it kind of gives you that misleading guidance with the bear and things like that throughout the whole film. It's really like the whole film. It only runs about 82 minutes, 83 minutes or something like that, so it's not really an overly long film, but I have to say, cinematography in this film, pretty good. I really like the locations that they shot, and they shot right in the woods, and it's very atmospheric at times, and it's actually really well shot, and it looks really cold at times. Also, there's a scene where this couple is having just ridiculous sex out in the middle of the woods, and it's like cold as hell. You can totally tell. Really enjoyed that scene, actually. I thought there was a couple pretty well shot scenes in this film. They kind of kept the momentum of the film going a little bit, because you're like, it's pretty atmospheric, it's not too bad, but then it follows with pretty mediocre kills and things like that, just not really the greatest. But there is one scene in this film that's quite memorable, and it's actually quite outstanding. There's a scene where, you know, you finally get to realize that, it's not the bear doing the killings, you know, spoiler, maybe. There's a scene where a grizzly bear fights, it's actually not a grizzly, but it's a real bear that fights this berserker, and it's a full-on brawl. Now, you just don't see shit like that in films anymore, because it's a real fucking bear, like, beating the shit out of this dude. It's actually quite impressive. So, if there's anything you're going to take away from this film, it's going to be that scene right there, and some of the pretty cool atmosphere that's, in the film. The very end of the film is so predictable. Even though I've seen this film before, it's really, really predictable. It's just quite obvious what is going to happen, so it's kind of a downfall to it. But, you know, as a whole, it's not a bad watch. It's kind of like a major guilty pleasure. I do enjoy this film, even though it's pretty shitty, if that makes any sense. But it's not a bad film. I'm going to give it a pass at a 5 out of 10. I just really wish it had better kills. If this film had amped up kills in it, it'd be fantastic. It would be a really entertaining, oddball film about this Viking, you know, this berserker. So, I don't know. Love this cover art right here. Makes me laugh. There isn't even a tent in the film like that, because they're actually staying in cabins. So even the cover's misleading. But yeah, Berserker, not a great script. It's pretty well acted for what it is, but not really the greatest thing in the world. But check it out at your own will. You know, if you find it for cheap, give it a shot. Alright guys, that's going to do it for week 137 here on Body Bags. Check you guys next week in 138. And as usual, peace out, homies.